The program aims at letting the young people know the principles of money management. That is to say, for example, how to make money, how to save money, and how to invest the money. Also, another pillar is daring, which has to do with identifying, exploiting opportunities that will later become world-class businesses. The third pillar is mentors. Now here, it helps the young people to flourish with experience that they are given to guide them. Also, another pillar, which is the fourth pillar, is the strategy. Now, when dealing with businesses, you need to have a plan for your life. And if you do not have a plan, you will always be on other people's plans. Now, today we are discussing and measuring on the second pillar, which is daring. And remember this, I said, is the identifying and exploiting of the opportunities that will later become world-class businesses. My name is John Jimmy Musimbi, and I am standing in for Edwin Mukalazi, who is supposed to host this show. But tonight, in studios, I am not alone. I am with a team from TUNADO, and that is the programs manager, who is Miss Birungi Phionah. TUNADO is the Uganda National Apiculture Development Organization, but also with me is a gentleman known as Arinda Apollo, who is the marketing officer at World of Bees Uganda Limited. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Okay, that's quite good to understand, and I'll give you a chance to say hello to our viewers.
Thank you, Jimmy, for inviting us for Young and Flourishing, and out to our viewers. Hope we shall find this program insightful and helpful to you in the future and now. Thank you, Jimmy.
Okay, well, now, starting with you, Mr. Arinda, I would love to know what is World of Bees and what does it do?
Thank you, Jimmy. World of Bees is a company that was formed in the year 2017 to make sure that farmers, especially beekeepers, have where they can sell their products. Because at times people would produce and they would cry where to sell their products. And so TUNADO and TUNADO came in and formed World of Bees to have where to sell farmers' products. That's how World of Bees came into existence. And we've been in existence up to now, doing marketing for farmers' products.
Okay. I think that's quite elaborate for our dear viewer. Now, turning to you, Miss Phionah, what is beekeeping? Because I've seen your profile here, and being a programs manager at TUNADO, it means you're really rich when it comes to information regarding beekeeping. What's that?
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Once again, my name is Phionah Birungi, and I work as the program manager for TUNADO. So TUNADO is the umbrella body for beekeepers in Uganda. So when we talk about beekeepers, and then you're asking me what is beekeeping, basically it is about giving bees a home. You nurture them and then benefit from them. So basically it is the science of keeping bees.
Well, that sounds interesting. I would love to understand, first of all, what are the opportunities for youth and women in beekeeping specifically for that particular group?
Okay, so there are quite many. Beekeeping is one of those economic activities that anyone, regardless of their age, their sex, or their ability, they can do because of its easy nature to do. First of all, you don't need a lot of land to, to keep bees. Even a space as big or small as this room, maybe it is about 30 feet by 20 feet, someone is able to put numerous beehives on it. Why? Because bees are able to move out on their own, look for food. So as long as you have flowering plants around where you have put your beehives, they will move and look for their own food, look for water, and come and make honey, and you who has provided a home for them, you will earn. So beekeeping is quite long. It is a long value chain, and women and youth can fit anywhere. So when you go to primary production, so basically that is where people keep bees. So primary production, you must have a space where you can put beehives. So you can, I've seen some people put them even on their verandas, and bees will find them and produce. So a youth who has a small piece of land, or you could even ask your parent, you know, I have thought of this project, or I have been enlightened on this project. Can you just show me a small piece on your land? They don't even need to say, we have given you this land for you to keep forever. No, someone just has to allow you to put under a tree or anything, and you'll keep bees. So anyone can keep bees. Even we know that women are the ones who do most of the farm work, the agriculture farming. So, and we know most of those farmlands have trees within them. So people hang beehives within there, or put beehives under the trees, and they're able to earn an income. Then we move up the value chain. We have people who make beehives. That is another node of the beekeeping value chain. People make beehives because you cannot keep bees without a beehive. You must provide them a home. And beehives come in different shapes and forms. When you look at, for example, our traditional hives, some are in pots, some are from logs of trees, the palm trees. For those who have had a chance to go to northern Uganda, or who are from northern Uganda, we have these big palm trees. They call them the tugu. They cut them, remove the inside, burn it, and it is a beehive. You're ready to start making money. So there are people who do that as a job. There are people who make bee suits. You cannot go to an apiary. So an apiary is a place where you keep bees. Sorry to take you backwards. So for you to go to an apiary, you must have a bee suit. So there are people, tailors. There are people who must tailor those bee suits. That is another node that women and youth can participate in. They are smokers. We know that for you to go and harvest bees, you need a smoker. Smoke calms them down. So that is another area where they can do. And those are things you can do within your free time. You know, they are flexible jobs. I forgot to mention that even beekeeping, you're not keeping bees from morning to evening, Monday to Monday. As long as you have put your beehives, just give them a maximum 2 days in a week. And I mean, in the evenings, just 2 hours in the evenings, 2 hours, 2 days in a week is enough for your beekeeping project. So you can do whatever else you want to do. Go to school, keep cows, dig, give bees a small piece of your time. Then the third node of the beekeeping value chain is the processing and packing. There are many people who I know, we have seen products like these. There are people whose job is only to pack. People produce, people make beehives and sell. Me, I go, buy, pack it in a nice container, put a beautiful label, and put it on the market. That is another job for someone to do within beekeeping. And then there are those who are trained to just provide extension services. For example, TUNADO, we have about 43 field extension staff, and all these people are below 26 years of age. That is a job we have reserved for only youthful people, both girls and boys. So you can provide extension services within the beekeeping value chain. There are people, for example, Jimmy, you're busy from morning to evening. You don't have time to check on your apiary. You need an experienced person to take care of your apiary for you. So we have young people who do that. That is another node where women and youth can keep. So basically beekeeping, you choose where to feed and what fits within your schedule. There are many opportunities.
Wow, this is really deep, and I believe it's gonna make sense to all viewers out there. Now, getting back to you, Mr. Arinda, I would love to understand, what does one need to benefit, especially when starting up a beekeeping business?
Thank you, Jimmy. For you to start beekeeping, there are things you must have. Like she mentioned about land. Land, it will not be big, but any size of land, you can start beekeeping. And then after you've gotten your land, you must have equipments to use. The equipments we look at are the beehives. You need a beehive for you to start. For any business, even any other business, if you're to operate, you must have where to put your beehives, then have your hives. Then you must have protective gear. She was telling you where the things you can do under value chain in beekeeping, where she was talking about getting the bee suits. Bee suits are one of the things that one needs, because without the suits, then you are calling the bees to work on you, and once they work on you, it might bring about death, because we all know that bees are dangerous insects. So we must go protected and then be able to work with them. Then apart from the bee suits, we talked about the smokers. Smokers are one of the things that you need to start beekeeping. And then in the end, when you're done with now primary production, you must need some things if you're going to now process. That's why you need equipment to start processing. And that's why you start now thinking about getting a honey press, maybe honey extractor. That's when you need packaging materials, and maybe preferably at the end, you need marketing. So I think those are one of the things that one needs to begin farming or beekeeping.
Well, I think that is really good, and it gives good insights to the viewer outside there. Now, to you, our dear viewer who is still watching the Flourishing Hub, Madam Birungi, I would love to understand, is there really market for bee products in Uganda? Because this is something which is rare, and I'm glad you've carried actually some of the products that you're really dealing in. How is the market? Is it there?
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Yes, I know it is. For most people, when you start talking about an enterprise and you're interesting them in, the first thing they ask themselves is there a market for this product? Yes, I can confidently say yes, bee products. We still have huge market for them, and both locally and internationally. And why do I say that? Number one, Uganda is still a net importer of honey, unfortunately, despite the so many opportunities that we have to produce a lot of bee products. We still import because what we produce is not enough for us to consume, leave alone exporting. For example, in 2017, NARO and Makerere University, together with TUNADO, I think we did a market survey, and we realized annually we consume about 385,000 metric tons, but I am also embarrassed to say that annually we produce about 14,600 metric tons of honey. So that deficit is still covered by imports. So what does that mean? There's big market for honey itself, and locally, before we even think of taking it anywhere else. And we also know that bees produce quite a number of other bee products that we have not yet exploited, yet we know they are demanded. I don't know, Jimmy, when someone talks about bees, how many products come to your mind? I guess
it's only honey, to be honest.
Yes. So that is one of the products. And first of all, honey is the most commonly known bee product, and it is also the bulkiest, but also the cheapest of all the products that come from bees. So we have something like propolis, That is another bee product that most people do not know, but yet very useful. You know, we are struggling with so many things. This is a season of colds and so many things. This is a product that assists on that, but few people know it. So that is also huge market open for it. We have cosmetics companies that are currently, unfortunately, sourcing beeswax from Tanzania. Yes, Saturday I was shocked to hear that we are also importing some beeswax from Korea. So for someone who is keeping bees and is producing beeswax, that is another market gap that we need to fill. Then we have bee venom. That is another. Jimmy, I know you have not heard of it.
Sure not.
So that is another bee product. So those are primary bee products that we get from the bees. So it is relatively new, but it has huge market potential. So for this question, I'll limit myself to the national market itself. We are not even close to satisfying it. So anyone who keeps bees is in good business, I must say.
Well, this is quite interesting, and you know, I'm certain many of you out there are equally surprised the way I am surprised about, you know, the market being beyond, and she's saying actually the products being, you know, served even have a deficit, you know. So I think the market is really out there. Now, turning to you, Mr. Arinda, can you tell us more about the bee forage?
Thank you, Jimmy. For bee forage, we talk about what bees feed on, and quite often people think that bees don't have what to eat, or they think if they are to start beekeeping, then their bees will not have what to eat. But then if you're to see, especially in Africa, all parts in Africa actually can have bees in those regions. And in those regions, we have different plants and forages around. Now, if you're to check, we have eucalyptus. I don't know any place in Uganda where there's no eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is one of the forage for bees that actually brings about good honey. Like this honey actually is one got from eucalyptus. Then we would look at coffee. All regions in Uganda have coffee. So if you're in an area where there's coffee, because bees, when they are looking for food, they always move at least up to 2 kilometers looking for food. So meaning if you're in an area where there's more coffee farmers, then you're sure that your bees will have what to eat. Then in areas where there's cotton, you can also have bees in that area. Then coriander is basically always grown for cattle as feeds, but also especially during dry season, coriander is always up. It is always flowering all season, like from January up to December. It never dries up. So it is one of the good forage that people would maybe plant around their farms, around their apiaries, to have their bees have what to eat. Then acacia, which is also one of the plants that grows both in drought and also in wet seasons. It is one of the good forage that. Then we have the cashew nuts. Currently at World Bees and TUNADO, we are promoting the growth of cashew nuts and macadamia nuts, whereby in 3 years you'll be able to harvest from the cashew nuts and macadamia, and also be able to harvest the bees, meaning you're now hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, because you're earning from macadamia nuts and then you're also earning from honey and other bee products. Then of course there is all the passion fruits. If you have passion fruit gardens around, if you have bottom brush also around your homes, most people always have those trees at home. So if you're having those, then your bees will have what to eat. Then we look at sunflower. If you go in northern and part of Western Nile, there's more where they grow sunflower, meaning if you're in those areas, your bees will have what to eat. So meaning for you to have bees, you must not be the person with all those things we are mentioning up. But if you're in an area where you're seeing people practicing more of this, then I'm sure that if you start beekeeping, your business will thrive, and then you'll have more honey, and possibly you'll get more income from your beekeeping. And then, of course, we have neem. So there are quite many plants that bees would forage on from January to December all year round. So I say yes, we have forage in Uganda, and if you're out there and you want to start beekeeping, then the chance is in your hands for you to grab it.
Wow, interesting information there, surely from Mr. Arinda. Now, I know, of course, Madam Birungi, you've exhausted most of these things, but maybe I would love you to highlight about some of the benefits of bee products. I know you've of course given some of these, but you're highlighting on them, hinting on them briefly. A viewer might need or needs to understand more details of what the benefits of these bee products could be.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Indeed, like you have said, I have touched on some of them. But one thing we need to know, the primary role of bees is pollination. That is the first. I wouldn't want to call it a product. It is a service. Pollination services from honeybees is very important, especially for Uganda, where we know that we say that agriculture is the backbone of Uganda. And we also know that a third of the food that we eat is pollinated by honeybees. So we need to keep, that is the most important. So first of all, bees, they ensure continuity of plant life on earth. So when you have bees, plants are able to reproduce, and we have food season in and season year in and year out. So that is the first one. So like I said, bee product, we have quite a number of bee products. The most common one, of course, being honey. Honey itself is food. It is a source of energy. So we eat it. People use it as an ingredient for medicine, some concoctions for dressing wounds. So there are quite a number of benefits really for honey. I wouldn't want to go into it. And this dates back to so many years ago when you read books where honey has been used in several, home remedies and the medical field. So that is one. So number one, of course, we have food, but also for boosting immunities. Then the other very important benefit from bee products is the income. In office, we have a sticker. We say bees make the honey and the beekeeper makes the money. So when we get the bee products, we make the money. We sell. The beekeepers make the money. For us who are doing the programming and the marketing, we are earning from the bee products. That is another benefit. Then we have so many other benefits. They have created jobs. The propolis, like I said, it is a very good antiseptic, extensively researched on. So that is another product that is very beneficial. Bee venom, not new, but of course bees have always had venom from the time God created them. But for us to harness that product and commercialize it and see its benefits, and it is still undergoing research, but it is also extremely beneficial. And of course also we know that most of these products are raw materials for other industries. For example, beeswax, it is used in so many things. Currently in Uganda we only use it for, when I talk of baiting, if you want to attract bees to your beehive, you will need to put a familiar scent and that familiar scent is beeswax. You burn the beeswax into your beehive. Bees smell something that they are used to or that is familiar to them, and they come and enter your beehive. That is the basic, really, thing you get from beeswax, but we use it for cosmetics, for furniture polish, for the food industry, in arts and crafts. Yeah, so we have quite a number of benefits basically from bee products that I would not exhaust from here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that. Now, Mr. Arinda, being a marketeer that you are, kindly highlight, how does someone become a supplier of World of Bees?
Thank you. For one to become a supplier at World of Bees, you must be a member of TUNADO. Like we say, TUNADO is the mother body that brings together all beekeepers. And like they have always been saying that people should come together so that they can have a common marketing ground. And World of Bees is there to provide that marketing ground for all beekeepers. So yes, for you to be a supplier at World of Bees, you must be a member, fully registered. That's one of the requirements. And two is your products should be at least known by UNBS, and NBS, at least UNBS should have given you maybe at least a true mark so that people would know that yes, we are consuming this honey, we are taking this propolis, but then it is known by the government, because by registering with UNBS, the government is surely knowing you. So those are at least one of the two things while at TUNADO and World of Bees we looked at before you start supplying at World of Bees, basically.
Well, thank you so much for that elaboration. Now, you've been watching the Flourishing Hub here at Family Television. Now, with me in studio, the show I've been hosting, a gentleman called Arinda Apollo, who serves as the marketing officer at the World of Bees Uganda Limited, but also the programs manager of the Uganda National Apiculture Development Organization, which is TUNADO, and that is Birungi Phionah, who have been in the studios trying to explain these things to you. Now, my name is John Jimmy Msimbi, and do remember that I've been sitting in for Adrian Mokalazi, who is the host of this show, which is the Flourishing Hub. As of now, I do wish you a very lovely night. Till next Monday.